Okay, thank you. So is that the Wi-Fi password over there? Maybe. Let me see. Tom, is that the Wi-Fi password?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So BCPR.
Well, you don't have to close all of them.
3384 exclamation point.
Yeah, only these. I only okay. It's fine. It's fine. Only one of these. So the camera was
oh, thank you.
it was too shiny. Okay, fine.
Not you. They took out these.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going to start talking about some more.
I shared it with you, Tommy.
Oh, thank you, Helen.
Some more practical. Let's say more. We're coming down a little bit more into this world. And when a person basically focuses on this infinite light on a more specific level, let's say we take a physical object that we're dealing with, or a situation that we're dealing with, and we bring the light of, we recognize and we're conscious of that light inside our physical presence or inside a specific person or object. What it does is it strengthens the revelation of the light inside that thing. So we said before that the world has something hiding its light, and the world has the light. Our consciousness has the ability to focus on something and actually bring it out. We're going to give a few examples of this to explain, a few physical examples, and then we're going to explain it more in a spiritual way. So many people, when a person looks at something in a limiting way, when a person looks at somebody critically, and looks at somebody badly, what he actually can be doing is he can be hindering the expression of the light, because what is the darkness? The darkness is the limitation of the light. When a person looks at something and he says, oh, that's a bad person, or oh, that's a bad situation, then what he could be doing is he actually could be bringing darkness into his situation, into the person. What he's doing, the way God gave us the power to have our hand in creation, and just like the world has darkness and light, God gave us a certain amount of power to move that light and darkness by our thoughts. Okay, good actions bring in light. Good thoughts about the light bring in light. Thoughts about God and creation brings in the light. Thoughts about limitation and negativity. Negativity is equivalent to limitation and and constrictedness. That causes the light to be diminished inside specific things, that whatever it is that you're conscious about. So now there's a very interesting idea in Jewish law that if a person is the example given in the Talmud, it's really in the Mishnah. If a person is a sharecropper, he works in in fields, and he gathers in the wheat, and he has a big pile of wheat. Now he has like 10 big barrels of wheat, and he wants to measure them to see how much he has. So he wants to pour them into his measuring cup, or his measuring system, however he does it, and measure it. There's a special prayer to pray that there should be a lot of wheat here. Now what defines, this is interesting idea. Why are you praying that there should be a lot of wheat here? On the other hand, to pray, let's say a woman is pregnant, a person's wife is pregnant, or a woman is pregnant, and she, after 40 days, she wants to have a boy, and she starts praying, please let there be a boy. After 9 months, she starts praying, please let there be a boy. What do you think? You think that's normal? You think that's like a fair prayer? The Talmud says, general, that is unfair, and we don't pray like that. We don't pray for an outright open miracle to happen. It's already something that already happened. What are you praying? The things should change? Should be a boy? Was a boy? Should be a girl now? That's like a very modern kind of question. We're not talking about that. We're not allowed to. It's not appropriate to pray like that to change what already happened. Another example: a person comes to a city. Let's say he sees a fire truck driving down. He says, "Oh, God, please let that not be from my house." That doesn't make sense. It already happened. It's already there. However, when a person's measuring a certain amount of of wheat, and he doesn't know how much wheat he has, and it's on a big pile, and now he's pouring it into a measuring utensil. There's a special prayer that there should be a lot. Now, it's nothing special about wheat. It's not special about wheat. It's special about the existence that we live in. People are unfortunately very misled by science and scientific ideas that the whole world is a bunch of physicality, a bunch of atoms and protons and neutrons and electrons just spinning around in some kind of like ultimate, merry-go-round. And that's the world that we live in. And basically, with that way of looking, you're basically looking at the physicality of everything. You're going to look at darkness. There is no light. There also is no freedom of choice. There is no light to go to. There is no, I can choose the light or I can choose the darkness. There is no option for me to go either way. Therefore, there's also no control over the existence. The existence is predestined and set. And even my freedom of choice, they want to say, the people that believe in science as a faith, they want to say that there is can't be freedom of choice. We're all big computers and we're basically pre-programmed with our way of thinking. And that's all incorrect, because the light created us in a position between light and darkness, and we have the ability to choose. If you have you have the computer ready?
Yeah.
So if you go open up the PowerPoint presentation, I think it's the.
It's not working.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It might be off. Is that plug out?
It was not plugged
Oh
out.
yeah, the plug's out.
What we're basically seeing from this type of example, we have a case where things were not measured, and when it's not measured, when it didn't come into human consciousness, then there is no defined measurement. Once it comes into human consciousness, I, a human, have now given it measure. Now, you could say, in heaven they know how much wheat there is. It's not true. In heaven there is no physical definition. There is no physical defined amount of wheat that I have there. I see a big pile. Okay, so it's not going to be 10 piles. I'm going to measure it. It's not going to be 10 piles. But it could be, 2 tons. It could be 2.5 tons, something like that. So we see another, so we see that by our concentration, by our prayer and connection to the infinite light, we can actually draw into it the ability of abundance within something that is already existing. This is something that a person could do any time that is not per se measured in human consciousness. This would apparently also apply by a person's, possibly by a person's bank account that wasn't known. I'm not so sure if that might already be calculated in the computer, but certainly by things that are outside of of measure, haven't taken on measure. There's another scientific experiment that many people are familiar with, the double slit, I think, double slit experiment, where they basically take photons and they shoot. You can imagine shooting like random bullets at a door, at a wall with 2 slits on it, and they find something very interesting, that when they shoot the bullets, they shoot these photons at the 2 slits, that when they're watching to see which one it goes through one or the other. And when they can see the way it maps out on the other side, they can see it goes through one side or the other side. When they don't watch it, it does something very strange. It seems to be going through both sides at the same time. Why? If this is, again, I'm only using this as, I'm not saying that science is correct in anything that they're saying. I don't validate science in general. If there's something that works, like I have a camcorder, and I have computers and it works, I'm not negating science, that there is a science to the darkness. There is a science to the way the light forms the darkness, but it's not ultimate truth. So we can't really say that this double split experiment actually is actually going through both sides just because they have a feeling that maybe it is. But certainly we have an idea that when you're not watching something, that it doesn't have a defined form. When a person looks at it, it takes on defined form. Now, you see, if you're going to give something a defined form, what kind of form do you want to give it? Do you want to give it a good form? Do you want to give it a form filled with abundance and packed with energy and excitement? You want to have 3 tons of wheat? you want to have 2.5? And that's because it's a little bit measured. What if it's not measured at all? What if a person, I have a way of, I'm going to meet somebody, we're going to have a deal. It could be a massive deal. It could be very small. It could be he doesn't even know yet. It's not defined in his mind. I've heard of these, and I don't know if this is true at all, but I've heard of these people called mentalists, and I don't know how they do it, but I've heard from some some friends of mine, like they told me they went to these people, and they do ridiculous things. Like they say, think of a number between 1 and 1,000, and then maybe they have some kind of trick, but like then, and you have to do. They said you have to do it like randomly. You can't do it. This is what they said. I'll tell you how I heard the story myself, and I'm sure you guys. People, I don't watch YouTube and I don't watch TV and movies, so I don't know about these things firsthand. But I'm using it as a principle to prove a point and to show something. And so it means it doesn't make a difference if I'm wrong about the mentalists or about the double split experiment. It doesn't make a difference. The point is that this is a true fact. When the Torah teaches that you're allowed to pray for something that didn't take form yet, then it's fine. So this mentalist would go in. This is what I heard. This is how this woman explained it to me. She walked into this magic show, and it was not a Kabbalist doing this, and it's fine. It's fine to do this type of thing. And she would come in, and he'd say, pick a number between 1 and 1,000. But it has to be random. It has to be like from your, without thinking about it. And then she would pick a number, and then he would basically do something and say, open up, like, without her saying the number. He would show her a paper and say, is this your number? She would say yes. Like, that's just not normal. I heard mentalists do all sorts of interesting things like this. One of the things it seems to be that would fit with if they're doing something slightly supernatural, what we would call above science, is that it doesn't have a defined, when a person is choosing like out of the blue from in the air, it doesn't have a defined number. So when a person comes to think of a number, I could define the number for someone else by my thoughts. So the mentalist, if it's true the way he's doing it, what he's doing is he's focusing on a certain number in order to cause the other person to choose that specific number. Now again, I don't know if it's just a trick. There's a lot of magic tricks that in the end they show you, how they have all the numbers and how they figured it out. I don't know exactly how they did. This lady told me, she said she didn't reveal to anyone the number. She thought in her own head, between 1 and 1,000. I mean, that's ridiculous. Between 1 and 10, okay, people choose 7 or 4. Or I don't know. Like, nobody's going to choose 1. Nobody's going to choose 0. Yeah.
You mentioned that if something is not defined or measured, you have more of an opportunity to change it, right?
Yes.
So let's look at this in terms of financial prosperity, right? If you have a bank account, for example, and it's not necessarily measured, you don't know what's in it, you can alter that.
Yeah, well, bank account, I'm a little bit. This is very serious. The rules when a Jew studies Talmud for 10 hours a day, he'll find nitty-gritty details that will actually define, like a science, to define what is called predefined or what is called not predefined, and is a bank account which has a computer number already attached, with an actual defined number that you would imagine that's already attached to it, would that be called defining your bank account per se? I'm not sure. That's why I didn't really want to say that, because there are actual rules for these things, and the Talmudists, for example, would know these types of rules probably better than I do. I didn't learn that particular chapter in in depth. Right?
So it's slightly different.
Yeah, it wasn't in a bank. If it was in your.
So if it's a deal, for example,
Yeah.
that you're crafting, or an opportunity to get something that you're crafting,
Yes.
there's no measurable.
Yes,
it's gonna happen,
exactly.
right?
Like the mentalist. Yeah.
So something like that, you can use these meditations
Absolutely.
to increase the number to what you want.
And
right?
you should. God wants you to do that. This is very important. You don't want to ever disconnect. You don't want to use God and His power and His infinite light for your own purposes. But meaning I want to have a family, I want to have kids, I want to live a productive life. That's not my purpose. Why am I doing that? I want to be happy. God wants me to be happy. God wants me to live a life. Really, this is the next thing we're gonna speak about this later. If you're really detaching it, you just want to be rich. So then, I mean, like Kabbalah, like you can learn some spiritual tricks of how to trick the world and gain a little bit more money maybe. And at the end of the day, you won't gain anything because you never attach to the ultimate light. It's like a battery that's just gonna die after 2 minutes. We're gonna be living forever. I tell my kids all the time. I tell them Jew lives forever, but it's not only for Jewish people. A soul is eternal. A soul is eternal. A soul will never die. Only bad people, really bad people, their souls are destroyed, and it's going to happen. We're now in the year 5,779.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, so 5,779, and by the time 5,779, by the time 6,000 comes, so all the souls that haven't been fixed and everything like that, the bad ones, they're going to be finished. bad people, like really bad people. We're talking about people with no good inside of them. They're not going to exist anymore. But us, hopefully, you know, all of us, we have at least one drop of good inside of us, hopefully, that we will live forever. Our existence, our consciousness, really our consciousness, not like some kind of, you know, your spirit or your purpose will live on. No, your actual consciousness, the way you understand your consciousness today, will continue to live forever.
So you can. So the answer to your question is you can increase it,
but
what you're
pointing
warning
out,
about
yes,
is make sure that it's in alignment with your higher purpose.
Exactly.
And for the betterment of everyone. That's
Exactly.
correct?
Right. Meaning God.
Sure.
Yes. Yes. Right. That is you know, that is how we connect. That is how we always want to be tapped into the ultimate light. If you lose the connection to the ultimate light, you could use some of these Kabbalah teachings for spiritual science, which is science means darkness. Science means physicality. Science means the form of the non-light. That's not light. Where's the light? I focused on and I wished for the best and I hoped for the best and I imagined a lot. Imagination is very powerful. It's in I've said the word a few times to me before. Manifestation, yes, manifestation of consciousness. Very important tool in meditation, in Kabbalah. You don't belittle it. Don't think, oh, it's my imagination. Faith is imagination. Faith is true. If I have two doors here, one door over here, one door over here. Behind one I put a lion, behind one I put a bag of $1 million, right? And I tell you, behind here, well, I don't even need the bag of $1 million. It says behind here is a lion, right? You imagine that. Is it true? Yeah, it's important. If I give you a cup of Coke and I said, this Coke is poison, don't drink it. So you imagine that it's poison. You imagine the truth. By us imagining the truth, we are able to connect it. So it's not the way we work spiritually and the way our also existence is in the future. Imagination is very important. And a person basically, I don't want to reveal secrets, so to speak, of Kabbalah for scientific reasons because I have a very clear agenda in my life. And it's basically to connect people to the ultimate light in a way that their life will be not changed on a physical sense as much as they will be uplifted and energized in everything. Also, I'm bringing out the physical effects of it. I don't want people to misuse it, cut away their focus on the, on imagining there being a lot there, not necessarily giving a number, but there should be a lot of wheat, there should be a lot of money in my pocket before I check my pocket, or there should be the deal should go very well. And that imagination will actually cause even a total disbeliever in the ultimate light. It will cause him to be more successful. I would call that self-help, and I was speaking to some people on the hall about how diametrically opposed in some ways, in some idea, self-help is to what we're speaking about here. Where self-help is not really, I'm not saying that self-help is bad. I'm saying self-help a lot of times says, you want this thing, I'm going to teach you how to get what you want. Focus on the good and everything's going to work out or whatever, be happy and positive, whatever it is. But often they're coming from a side of ego and self. I want to expand the self. I read something about Satanism, that Satanism is all about expanding ego and self. This is what the evil prophets, there were some evil prophets, and there were evil people in the past that had complete methodologies, complete systems. In all of creation, maybe up to a certain point, I'm saying we know how far their knowledge gets. Obviously our knowledge gets up to the light. They never got up to the ultimate light. Even if they knew about the ultimate light, they kind of just chose to ignore it. It's like, I know there's ultimate light there, but I just want money. So at the end of the day, what are you going to get? You're going to get your money, but you're going to not be happy with it. So is that really what we want? Is that what someone wants here in this world? You're going to have tons and tons of money. You're going to be rich. You have billions of dollars, but you're not going to be happy. So I'll teach you also how to get money. Whatever I could, to the extent that you could focus and to the extent that you could bring prosperity and abundance in a physical level, that's also good, and that's also the desire of the ultimate will that we should have. We should be in charge of angels. We should tell them what to do, and they should, Adam in the, in Garden of Eden, they were serving him, and we should hopefully come to such a level that they should serve us, and all the spiritual sciences also will be at our fingertips. And that's fine to use it. Just don't forget. It has to be for a reason. It has to be because you're connecting to the ultimate light. If you're just doing it as a magic trick to get more money, you will get more money. You will. That's the way the world works. This is science. This is the scientific aspect of what I'm really trying to teach. And you will get it, but you may not be happy with it, and it may not do good for you. There was once a story about a man. I don't know if it was Jewish or not. A certain man who hated he had a neighbor. He hated him, and he really wanted to destroy him in his whole life. And he had some kids, so he decided when his kids turned 18 or 16, he was going to start giving them like tons of money. He gave them a fancy car. He started giving them like thousands of dollars. And these kids, what do you do? A young kid with tons of money, they're just set up to fail. We don't want to go in that way. We don't want to go in the direction that we're going to basically serving our own ego. Our own ego is from the darkness, and our own ego is going to end. That's it. Very limited. Usually it doesn't even last a lifetime. Usually people kind of fizzle out. But since it is also good in a physical sense, and that's incorporated in God's master plan, and it is a science that does come out, it's certainly fair and it's good to do it. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that let's say you're not connecting to the light. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. Because we're not always connected to the light. Nobody, no matter how much, I myself, I'm not always hooked up all the time. But I know I make a plan before my day. I know that in general, this is where I'm going and this is what my life is about. And if I want money, it's because I want to feed my family. It's because I want to have, the ability to do normal things and to be a productive, normal person. And that I know is within the bounds and the realm of goodness. And that automatically, inherently, latches me in and taps me into the light. A lot of times, meaning a person doesn't have to do the attachment to the light at the moment. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to. If you already in the morning, if you're in general once a week, whatever it is, you made a general accounting, you made a general meditation on your life, and you try to attach everything to the light, then you don't have to do it every single time all the time. It's enough to know that what you're doing you're in the right direction, and then everything you do is going to be good. So that's a very important thing because we're not always hooked up. So again, this type of meditation, and this is basically finding the good inside everything, and this means inside your bank account, inside what you feel you are lacking or you feel you need in your life. You have to find the good specifically there. That's like the most important. But even in your house, even when everything's going well, you have to look at the good. Look at the good, focus on the good. We're going to speak about a few more things about connecting to the good in a more natural way, meaning thanking Hashem, thanking God for the good, thanking the ultimate light for the good. And those basically okay, so the basic ways that we do this, we do it in a number of different ways. We do it and there's different ways. There's two sections of this thing. There's objects, like we spoke about, and there's also actions. So in objects, what we're doing is we're taking specific objects in our life, a broken car or a broken business, we'll call it like an object, something static, and we're focusing on the good that's there. And in that good that we're focusing on, we should try to remember where the good is coming from. That is the right way to do it. To remember that it's God that gives us the good, the light that is inside of everything. By focusing on that, we're kind of peeling away some of the darkness that God created in the beginning in everything. We're taking away some of this dark matter that hides the light, because now it's not hidden anymore. Now I see it. Now I can connect to it. Before, when I wasn't thinking about it, it was hidden. Hidden means from consciousness. I'm not going to start like shining lights. But once I'm focused on it, so it's not hiding anymore. We said, what is the purpose of this dark light? The dark matter? It's just to hide the light. So now when I uncover the light, I fixed it. I revealed it. All of anything that's going to inhibit it is going to be gone now. Now, we have to know that, again, this is not magic tricks, and God has a master plan, and sometimes his master plan is not like your master plan, and you have to go with the flow, and you have to remember that his ultimate purpose and his ultimate purpose with the world is to bring it to its finalization of unbelievable, amazing goodness. The next aspect of this is finding good inside your own actions. Now this we spoke about also in the hall a little bit with some of the people. When you go to work, you want to find light. Sometimes you feel like you don't have light in your own work, let's say. And you come to work and your life is dead. Like you feel like you don't want to be there, or you feel like low energy and you don't, but when you yesterday, when you were thinking, you came to a class and afterwards you were thinking about your life and you're like, I have a good job, I like what I'm doing, this is what God wants from me. We're going to speak about that in a little bit, how to figure out what God wants from me. There's some Kabbalah advice for this, and it's very simple. I mean, it's not so, but I'm going to explain it more in a spiritual way. And now, but why is it when I sit at the table and I look at my pile of papers, I get scared, or I get sad, or I lose my energy? Very specifically, you have to tap into the light, the infinite light, the light of goodness that's inside your work, inside yourself, inside your actions. You have to know my actions are going to come, they're going to be an embodiment of the infinite light, because I'm doing good actions. I'm acting for the good. The only place you cannot say this, the place that we don't do this, is if a person's acting something that's bad. If a person is hurting someone, or doing one of the sins, a person hurting, killing, idolatry, all sorts of other, there are sins for Jews and for non-Jews. This is again why it's harder for Jews sometimes to do this, because their actions is like much harder for a Jew to live with like 1,000 rules, and there are many different things. And if he's not really on an ultra religious level, he knows he's failing in a lot of different ways, and it's very, very difficult. I'm not saying it is a very difficult job for a Jew. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's something that I'm happy with my personal lot. And you should know God is also, it's important to understand that Jewish approach to non-Jews is that non-Jews are not, it's not like non-Jews do not need to convert. God is happy with the non-Jews or Gentiles. If I'm not using a nice term, I grew up in Jerusalem, and I hope if non-Jew is not, I don't know what the most appropriate term, if it's a Gentile.
We'll go with non-Jew.
Non-Jew is fine? Okay, fine. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, like if it's a... But the idea is that there are different people with different, there's a priest, and there's a regular person. The priest has different obligations and different jobs. Regular person has different things, also within the Jewish religion, and there's a holy person who has like super things that nobody could stand on such a high level. So we have to know that God is happy with us the way we are. However you are, you just have to do good. It's not hard to be a non-Jew. It's not hard. Don't kill, don't steal. There's a book with like maybe 50, 60 things. You have to make sure stealing is a big one. But many other things, like it's okay. You don't have to eat kosher. There's no such thing. If you want to eat kosher, could be a nice thing. You could ask your rabbi if you have a rabbi. Somebody that could guide you in that way. But you don't. For certain spiritual attainments, it might help you a little bit, but it's not something that's necessary. Not something that's obligatory, and it's not something that will hinder you from bringing the light into your life in any way. Meaning that you can go and you can know that God is happy with you, 100%. This is how your life is supposed to be, and that's important in order to bring Him in. Because if He's not happy with you, meaning if you're doing something against His His mission in the world, He's trying to bring goodness, He's trying to bring the world to ultimate perfection. You're trying to come in and stop it. You're trying to steal as much money as you can and try to be with as many women, or do all sorts of other sins that are bad. So then it'll be impossible for you to connect to this light in the ways that we're about to speak in your actions. It's impossible. Even if you're a bad person, let's say you do bad things, you can connect to His light in the world around you, because that's the scientific fact. That's the world. But in your actions, you can't say, I'm doing an action which is embodying the light of God. That's not true. That's false. That is not only not true, it's damaging. You're going to cause more damage by mixing up, by bringing the light of God into your actions with your imagination when you're doing sins. And you're going to actually be taking holy and making it profane. And that's a very bad thing. So I know we're all talking to good people here and nice people. I'm just explaining that sometimes in smaller aspects, when a person does find a temptation to take something which wasn't really his, or not pay for it, going to the gym by buying a drink, and then all these tricks that people have, and they're little things, and little things count. And we're talking about little things, and if a person does this in a little way, it counts it destroys your whole relationship. I know you have a wife or husband, or you don't. You have a boyfriend or girlfriend, and these types of things. Like, you know what? Sometimes you make fun of them. Sometimes. That's not nice. That's not nice. How are they going to really relate to you afterwards? How are you going to feel when you want to connect afterwards? I know I made fun of you yesterday, and I screamed at you or whatever it is. It inhibits the relationship. This relationship with God is not just this scientific light of energy. God, if you could bring the picture up, I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah.
God created his relationship with us. To us.
Next
Yeah.
one?
That one. No, keep that one.
Oh.
God created His relationship with us in a form of man. That doesn't look like a man, and the reason why I didn't draw a man there is because there's reasons I don't want to physicalize the God's relationship to us, but that really is supposed to be, that really is like an image of the form, a spiritual form of man. It's really the legs, the different parts, these different things are relate to different parts of the body. Why? Why did God create himself, so to speak, an image, and not an image, not Christianity, very different. God did not embody himself in, in a human being. This is not true. But God, what he did do is he relates to us as a human being, so to speak. That is the teachings of the Bible, where it says he came in and he was angry and he did this and he did that. He relates to us in a way that we can understand because he wants to have a relationship. Meaning, your hands can clap because they're the same. But if you had one hand like this and one hand like that, it doesn't really clap, right? A man and a woman can come together because they're the same. Take a man and a giraffe, and now I'm not talking about nowadays, I'm talking about like, imagine like you go back like 50 years where people like understood these things a little more. Mm-hmm. They're like, you just can't, like animals and men, they don't go together. It doesn't go. God wanted that our relationship should be complete. And that means from head to toe. And we have the ability to our whole lives should be an attachment to him. And he's not just this abstract light of energy, but we actually relate to him. These relationships are in our experiences in the world, in the things that happen to us. Meaning, when you have something hard happen to you, it's like your father, who punishes you or something like that, and you have to connect in that way. I'm going to try not to get into that, but if we have a lot of extra time, we could talk about that a little bit. The different aspects of relationship to God in a more humanistic way.
So the young man, you were telling us before when we had the break how when you separated yourself from like all these gurus. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
So share that with us, because I think this has something to do.
I was just talking about, I used to attend a lot of stock seminars, and it has nothing to do with spirituality, and I could never make money in the stock market. Things would be going up, and somehow I'm losing money. Then I said, I'm not going to focus on the stocks, I'm just focusing on spirituality, and things started to connect in my life.
Oh, very good. Very good. Listen, in the world, there are many levels. Like materialism, evil is the worst. Evil is bad. It's actually bad. Materialism is, it is what it is. Evil per se, depends on how you relate to it. It's something that's called, there's a certain type of materialism that could be uplifted, a certain type of materialism that can't be, meaning we need material, we're materialistic people, we live in the material world, so it's something that we have to relate to. There are spiritual sciences that may be a little bit more uplifting, a little bit more close. Kabbalah is not any of those. Kabbalah is above all of them, and what the idea is, and this is the real point, is to take the ultimate purpose and life and light and bring it down into all of them, into materialism, into materialistic life, into our materialistic world, down to the ground. God didn't create this world by accident, and it wasn't a mistake, and it wasn't something bad. He did it because he wanted that there should be a complete unity between the physical world, and we should uplift it and combine ourselves with the spiritual realms in the way that he taught. Some other places, like, it's easier to uplift when a person has more knowledge of spirituality in general, but sometimes the spirituality could be misleading if it's spirituality plain without connecting to ultimate purpose. Okay, so really I would like to, maybe we should do a meditation before we get into the next. Let's finish the topic of focusing on good to create good inside our physical or spiritual surroundings. Inside yourself, you also have to look at the good inside yourself, and it actually strengthens the good inside yourself. Again, you're focusing on the light, you're uncovering, whenever you focus on the ultimate light inside of something, you're peeling away the entrapments of the dark matter that the physicality was created out of. And when I look at my own self and I say, hey, and I just make a list, I got this good point, I did this good deed, I'm trying to think, I thought 3 times about the infinite light being in this world, I studied a little bit of Kabbalah, that's really going to help me, the real thing, and I studied a little bit of Torah, I learned some guidelines of laws of how to act, how to conduct myself as a good person, to make sure I don't do anything wrong, or I at least made a calculation to check in my business life, am I honest? In my personal life, am I friendly? Am I kind? And these types of things are important. When you do this, you have a tremendous amount of sparks of light that are revealing itself inside of you. If you don't focus on it, that could just die away, and you could end up getting caught up in work and in all sorts of other things, and then it'll disappear. Same thing in work. You have a job, you work 8 hours a day, sometimes 10, or sometimes 2, whatever it is. Sometimes, like, if you don't connect, you don't find the goodness inside of it, your interest and experience could fizzle away. And then what happens is you end up with darkness. And a person who runs after, if you focus on the good, you'll actually bring out the good. In relationships also, between husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, the more you focus on the good, you could take it very simply, you could write down all the good things. That's a good way to start. Then focus on it. You could meditate on it the way we're going to meditate in a moment. These are meditations on things outside of you now. We're going to meditate on it, and you can meditate on each one. What you're actually going to do, unbelievably, is you're going to change the other person. This is something Rabbi Nachman of Breslov teaches, the rabbi of Breslov, and he says that when you focus on seeing the good in someone else, without talking to them, you actually bring out the good inside of them. Why? Because you're peeling away the darkness. I have the power in my existence. We're all attached. We're all part of the whole creation. We're all here. I have the power to look at you, find a good in you, and then your good becomes, when you go home, you're going to feel like, let's say I meet Guy, and Guy has this like interest for truth and spirituality and being a good guy, a good person. Now, I focus on him and I think about it. My thought alone, even if I'm not realizing what I'm doing, has this effect. But if I do it on purpose, with my imagination, with meditation usually is imagination, or if I speak it out, then I can cause it to happen stronger. And that means that he's going to go home and he's going to be a better person because of me. Now that also is applicable in every aspect of our lives. I can peel away certain aspects of darkness. If the whole world were to focus on his certain one character trait of goodness, like, he would basically not be able to hold himself back from revealing that aspect of goodness, because all of creation would have peeled it away, and that there would be no hiding anymore. There'd be no hiding of the ultimate light. The ultimate light would reveal itself inside inside our guy here, who was so instrumental in helping this whole thing happen, and Jen also. I want to thank you. We should find the good in in all of our friends and people around us and the whole world, really, to turn everything for the best. You can't do this on evil. You cannot do it on finding someone, his anger or his bad actions. We don't say that the bad actions are good. That's it's a different thing. So let's stop here and let's do a meditation on finding the good things. I don't know if I want everyone to really pick something. This is a kind of broad thing, and again, we could do it on yourself. To find something that is specifically, that you have a good point inside yourself, something that is really good. And again, good means connection somehow to the ultimate good, and bring it out, or find it in someone else that you care about, someone else that you know about, or find it in your in your physical, in your pockets, in your own financial success, or in some specific way. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one point and we're going to focus on it. Meaning something that, let's say you could take something that is there and bring it out more. What I mean to say is we're going to take something where I see a little bit of light, a little bit of kindness of God, that he gave me $300 in my bank account, right? If it's not in my bank account, I know that I have a certain amount of money in my hands. So I can focus on the goodness of that and the light that's inside of that. And that will make it so that it will actually become more good for me, or more good. It'll be more revealed in the world. You could do it with somebody else. So let's take something. I personally found, and this is something that also in the teachings, you really want to, instead of just focusing on things that are already good, focus on something that's a little difficult. Meaning, go a little bit, get your hands dirty a little bit. Focus on someone you have a hard relationship with. Focus on on something that's not going so well. Focus on something and find something good in there, and we're going to bring that out. Before before we do that, okay. There were some things I wanted to say. Yeah, what a person basically is doing when you do this. Before we get, how much time do we have?
It's up to you and these individuals. It's
Okay, fine.
up to everyone. We're shooting for about 5 o'clock. If we want to go over, if it's okay with you,
Okay.
and if you guys can stay, then.
I mean, it's very intense. I mean, the whole like a lot of talking, and I mean, it's fine.
This is
I
good,
have-
yeah. I like
it's
it.
good. Okay, fine. So we will be focusing on. So there's one more idea that that I would bring into this whole thing. God's creation that we showed there, right, is a unification of darkness, which we can also call body, and light, which we call soul, right? So so bringing, basically, when God brought the light back into the darkness, he unified the light with the body, and that's called a creation. What is our creation? What is our real existence? What's the real existence in this physical world and everywhere? Is light with physicality. That means the light of my soul, the light that God invested inside of me to make me alive, and my body. That makes a human being. That makes a person, right? That makes what we call a creation. A creation needs sustenance, and God gives sustenance. The ultimate light is connected to every creation. Why? God made a creation there. God makes creation. Creation is fusing of body and soul. What you're doing, when you're focusing on the good, bringing God's light into something, or revealing, peeling away the the hiddenness of the light, what you're doing is you're taking a body, let's say this table, or you're taking another person, and you're giving him more light. So you're making a body and a soul. Was that clear? Here we have a body, we have a table, let's say, and the table is I want to connect. I want to see the light of God inside the table. And I'm just taking a regular physical thing. What I'm doing is I'm bringing light into something physical. Ultimately, when you look at it, in the beginning, everyone that comes here, we look at the table, we see this table is dead tree that was chopped in Brazil 20 years ago. And it's been drying out ever since. There's nothing alive inside of it. It's not true, really. Kabbalah teaches that everything has sparks of life inside of it. And certainly here we're getting to the real spark of life is the connection that it has to the infinite light. When I draw the infinite light into this body, I created a new creation. What's a creation? Body and soul. I created a new being. It's not really a being. If you have a piece of, I don't know what the right words maybe in English are, but I think the point is clear. If you have a physical body, it's not something that needs sustenance. It's not something that needs to live. So God, what he does is he creates a special rule. He gives sustenance to every creation. There's a passage in Psalms by King David where he says that God gives sustenance to every creation. If I make this table a creation, because I am now focusing on bringing consciousness, bringing the light of the infinite light, the light of God into this, I created a creation. I did it. Now, this creation needs sustenance. I now brought sustenance into this. I now brought new light into this creation. This is specifically spoken about difficulties in difficult situations. When you bring God into any difficult situation, the difficult situation is like the body, and I brought godly light into it. When you do that, you create a new creation that actually, there's a passage that says you will double your finances. That's the words, I'm saying the words the way it's said. You double your I'm trying to think, I'm translating the word, influx of bounty, I think is the right way. When a person does this in his own life, in his own personal way, then he will actually double his sustenance that he'll be getting from above. The reason why is that before there was no creation. The body was living by itself. The person, if he lives in a materialistic world, he doesn't really need sustenance. He doesn't really need spiritual sustenance. He doesn't really need life coming from above. But when a person does this, he actually creates what God's ultimate purpose is, creating a fusion of body and soul. We are the body, so to speak. God is the soul. Our job is to fuse the two together. That's our job. So, before we get into our job more, which is the next meditation and the next step, we're going to finish now with this point that we're going to find good points. I would say either in yourself, in something that's it's hard for you. You should find I don't know if it's the right time for long introspection, but I'm trying to think about how what topic would be the most appropriate. You could find in something that's difficult for you and something that's hard for you. We have to focus. We're going to take one topic on something that's difficult, and we're going to focus on bringing God's light into that situation. So, for example, if a person is stressed out about something at work, or if a person has difficult times at home, or or health issues, or other things like that, take that issue. We're going to basically imagine that issue. Let's just say a person has a broken leg. He's going to imagine his broken leg, and he's going to imagine godly light inside that. He's going to take his business and his boss who's giving him a hard time, and he's going to imagine the godly light being inside there. And really, we said before, godly light is everywhere. It is. We just don't see it. The more we train ourselves to see it, the more it's going to bring it out, and the more we're going to focus on it. Focusing on it in detail is even better if you could find good points in your boss, for example, if he's the one giving you a hard time, and the good points is maybe he pays you on time and all these other things, then you're actually going to bring out more good from your relationship with your boss, or from your relationship with your spouse, or from your relationship with your work, your actual work. So let's take one thing, and we have to understand, when we see the light, it's not, I wouldn't say it's good enough until a person builds a relationship with the light. When a person builds a relationship with the light, when I bring the light into something, I've been practicing this for a long time, I know the light is good. I know the light, I know what light I'm talking about, basically. It's like you're talking to a girl in text, and you don't know her. It's like, you don't know really who you're talking to. So you're writing the text, you're imagining the light, but you don't know which light you're talking about. We have to remember the most important thing is we're talking about the infinite light, the creator of the universe, the ultimate power. There's only one ultimate power, there's no others. There are many big powers in the world. There are many powers that are, like all the powers are subjugated to God's ultimate power, and he lets them kind of play a game in the fake Mossad, what is it called? The fake play of independent existence, which these ultimate powers don't actually have. Like the evil angels, there were some that kind of got into their heads that they could be better than God, and they could be higher than God, and they took on some very very bad things. But they somehow fell into this idea of, I'm my own person, I could just live by myself, and I'm my own power. I'm not subjugated to the rules of above. So there are powers like that, and we don't want to connect ourselves to any of those powers, any of the spiritual levels or realms ever discussed in anything except for the ultimate creator. It's just a completely different thing, and it won't be getting you where we're talking about, and it won't ultimately it will not be beneficial. So we're going to take one thing, one problem, we're going to imagine the problem, and imagine the ultimate light, the light of the creator coming in, the good creator whose ultimate purpose is good. It's very important to have this in mind, that he is good and everything is good, and he comes into that and gives new life to your problem, new life, new existence, a new creation. Because before, when you looked at it just in a physical sense, it was just a body. It was just something material. Even if it was something, an action, it was something that was separate from the ultimate light. When you bring God's light into it, then it's something else altogether. So I'm just repeating that. It's important to. So I'm going to call it. I'm saying I'd like to do this just with everybody. So I'm going to call it the problem, I guess, and we're going to fix this problem. Everyone should imagine their own. You could take a few seconds to think about their own problem that they would like to focus on, and then we're going to start bringing the light in. Now, where are we bringing it in from? The best way to imagine it is, one way to imagine it is, you see a picture there. You don't have to see all those things in the middle. You don't have to see all those things. Creation is inside that black space. We are there. You can imagine that as the universe, so to speak. And the ultimate light of the creator is outside, like above and beyond the universe, right? We're imagining that light to be coming inside of our problems And that itself will help us fix our problems and come to terms with our situation. A lot of times it's, again, we do not control the reality around us ultimately. We can pray that we should have a lot of wheat. We can pray that we can connect to and imagine that we're going to have a lot, and it will actually bring us a lot, and it will make you better. My father told me, I don't know if it's true, he told me that when he was, they did studies, they took a whole bunch of elementary kids, and they had warts or something like that, and they told all the kids to draw the wart on a piece of paper and then erase it. Right? And they said that the kids, and a group of kids didn't erase it. They had a group of kids that did erase it and a group of kids that didn't. And they said the kids that were erasing their warts, they were imagining it being erased, and they were erasing their warts got removed, were removed much quicker. That's like a physical fact. That's a physical fact. We're doing this with the ultimate light of creation. It's ultimate powers, and it's real things. It's things that have true sustenance to it, meaning true, eternal, has all the good things you want to put. You will put it all into that because it's God. It's God's ultimate goodness that we're actually able. He allows us, and it's not just that He allows us. It is scientific fact. Scientific. I'm talking about my science, like the science of Kabbalah. That God's light is everywhere. We started off by saying God's light. What did He do? What was the darkness? It's very important to understand. Darkness is just a new creation, a hiding cloth that covers up the light so we don't see it, so we can exist. When we remove the darkness, when we focus on the light, we're removing the darkness. Darkness doesn't exist anymore. But really it was there the whole time. So let's take our problem. We're going to we're going to imagine it from outside of the galaxies. You don't have to do it when you get used to it. You don't have to imagine where it's coming from once you are very comfortable with that thing. But it is important to understand that you're only drawing the light of the Creator, the ultimate Creator, the one God, drawing into your problems. That's what we're doing. Okay? When we draw into our problems, we have to imagine our problems getting better and getting fixed. Or if you have a person, you could focusing on the good inside the person is a slightly different thing. Focusing on the good that you already do have inside that problem. Okay, so we're going to start with, it's going to be about 5 minutes, the whole thing. We're going to start with, really we should choose, we're going to think for a second with your eyes open. You could think of something that's disturbing you. And now we're going to clear our minds first. We're going to imagine the thing that disturbs you and focus on bringing the ultimate light inside. Now we're going to start slowly, okay? First, we're going to clear our minds. You should push out all thoughts of your minds. Think about nothing. If a thought comes in, don't worry about it. Just keep on keeping your mind clear. Okay, now I want you to take a moment to visualize your problem, even if it's something not so physical, to visualize it in your imagination so you could see it in your mind's eye. And now we're going to draw the light from outside the universe, outside all the physical and spiritual realms. We're going to draw it slowly into our problem. If good aspects of your problem pop up, don't worry about it. Just keep on bringing light into it. Bring light into your problem and realize that your problem is really good. There's goodness. It's ultimately, there's light now inside your problem. Because the light of the Creator is everywhere. Everything, even this, is also good. Now you have to imagine the problem still is there, It's filled with light. It's shining and glowing with light. Try to focus also on the goodness of the light. Okay, now don't take the light out of your problem. You can now push your problem away with the light slowly, and you could stop thinking about your problem, but don't take away the light. You can open up your eyes. Don't take the light away, but everyone can come back, push away the problem, open up your eyes. Okay, we actually, took care of our problems. We took care of it, we focused on it, we dealt with it, we understand, we came to like a awareness of the light inside of our problems. This was one way of doing this. I mean, another way is focusing on the good itself. If there's something specifically noticeable good inside a person, let's say, or inside something else, even on a good person without a problem. But I want to take something a little more extreme. It's something I found like is more, we in our lives, we deal with our problems, We have problems in our life, and we want to, usually, somebody told me, I don't know if it's, I don't know if the Torah teaches this, if it's in Kabbalah. I haven't seen it specifically, but like between pain and pleasure, it's like the pain that mostly get people to move. Pleasure doesn't, like, okay, I have a better life if I do this. It's not going to get people to move so much. It's the pain that I don't have money to pay my bills. That's what's getting me to move a lot more than, or that I feel bad that I don't have what the other guy has or something like that. That makes me move a lot more than, oh, I'm hoping to become a millionaire one day. So that's why these things are more effective, more maybe important on focusing on your problems, focus on people with the problems with, focusing on finding the good points in those people. If you obviously can't disengage your relationship, if it's not the right thing to do for whatever reason, you have to continue acting with them. Think about their good points. Bring out their good points. You could also do this type of meditation on their bad points, because ultimately the light is in everything. The only thing we cannot do this on is sin. Now, there's another. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, there's a whole topic that I don't think we're going to get to. Maybe afterwards, if we want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But finding the light in the darkness itself. It's a little bit more. Maybe it's for more advanced. I feel like this is very, very heavy in any case. Okay, the next thing is, and this is really like, I would say the punchline, not the punchline, but a very important part that's not less than anything else that we spoke about, probably much more, is finding the light in your own actions. This is something that different people do it in different ways. A Jew ultimately has to do it in every way, like all the time. Everything that he's doing has to like be very full with high levels of light. A regular person can do it as much as you can do it. The more, you don't have to do it, but it's something that's very good. What does this mean? This means, like we spoke about before. So you have to know, the first thing you have to know is, what does God want from us? Because there's this light out there. If I don't communicate with the light, it's like, I have a wife, but I don't speak to her. You know, like, that's very nice, but there's a lot missing in the relationship. The truth is that this light, the Creator, came in and he taught us the secrets of Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is not, I'm not distinguishing it between any of the other aspects of the Torah, of the teachings of the Bible and the Torah, the oral and the written Torah of the Jews, which I'm not distinguishing it because it's all one and the same. It's all attached and associated one with the next. And all of the coders that encoded the law inside the oral Torah, they were all such great Kabbalists. They were able to raise the dead, and they were all ones that all of the Arizal says, the author of the Kabbalah, the main Kabbalah teachings that we have today, he says that all of the decisions in law, in the oral law that we have today, was from the previous. It's hard to get into the details of law, but they were all from the Talmud. It was all decided based on secrets of Kabbalah, because the light comes down in a certain way. This is permissible and this is forbidden. This is something that has to do with usually with Jewish practices, but also with the general seven commandments of the non-Jews. The non-Jews have a purpose, and there's something that we have to do. Everyone has something we have to do in this world, and the knowledge of what it is that we have to do is taught in Kabbalah and in the Torah in general. We have to learn from the knowledge. That's the connection we're going to make. It's going to help us make the connection to see, what does my wife or my husband, so to speak, what does he want from me? What does he ask from me? He put me in this world. He created everything. I see, like, this is a creator. I use his energy. Like, I believe in his energy in everything. Like, I know it's here and I feel it. But now, like, what does he want from me? What does he want from me in my life? As long as you're doing something which is, what he wants, and I'll tell you that just the general principles, which I'm sure any person could, general people have a general understanding that it's very interesting. There are 4 elements in creation. I'll just bring this up here. Earth. I know them off by heart. Yeah, earth. Fire, air, water, and earth, right? And there are also 4 types of creations in the world, and that is inanimate. That's like earth. They're associated with earth. There's animate objects. Inanimate is rocks, basically minerals, anything that is dead is inanimate. It does not have any life on a physical sense. The animate ones are plant life. We have basically plant life, which has it's like a level of water, has earth and water inside of it, so to speak. And then there's animal life, and animal life has also wind inside of it, like birds chirp, they run around, they breathe, they do things. And then there's humans. Humans have the element of fire, which is more, so egocentric, anger comes out of ego and other things like that. There are other things. I'm not getting into exact matching up, but there are these 4 elements, since they come from science, they come from the physical side. They are not spiritual, so to speak. They're not godly. But God created them, and they come out of the elements of the world. So our bad character traits come from these 4 elements. From earth comes sadness, depression, laziness, like earth doesn't want to move. From water comes a desire, like plants. They have desire to grow. They have desire to reproduce. They have desire to eat. Wind, the animals, they have the desire to, like, they communicate, they chatter or whatever it is. Evil speech, we also have these things. And from fire, a special thing that humans have is the self-centeredness and the knowledge of oneself and consciousness of, right and wrong. In general, man was created with some kind of general idea of right and wrong. But it's not really good enough. It's like if a person were to go out, like, we have a general feeling of spirituality, but it's not good enough to really be able to know what is truly kosher, what is truly appropriate, what is truly not. For example, in stealing, there are very many cases which are very, very fine line of what is called theft and what is not. If a person is doing theft, even a little bit, theft is theft. A person who's not aware of the laws or is not aware of what is considered stealing may be stealing and doesn't even know about it. These are things that are very, that are very common. These are things that in our actions we have to make sure that we are not associated with any of these bad actions. The way we know that is from the Torah. The Talmud teaches some of these practical advice. The Kabbalah gives more spiritual and general advice. Now, as long as a person knows that he's in line with goodness and in line with the ultimate will, the ultimate power, the ultimate creator, then he's now ready to bring the light into his own actions. That means he could see his own actions as he can embody, or what was the word again? Manifest God's light into his own actions. And this is a level that we're not going to get here in this class, and probably not in most of our lifetimes, but there is such a thing. To a certain level, people can get certain levels of this. Certain type of spiritual, we call it Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit means where a person's kind of guided and kind of guided in a way that, because he's so much connected, even without him knowing, you might not see visions. That's fine. Most of us aren't going to see visions, but with connecting, a person's going to be guided in the right way. And a person can be rest assured, this is a very important point to understand, a person can be rest assured that if he's making a calculation and doing his best, his real best, to come close to the light and make his actions in line with the light, then he will come there, he will make it. Because this is an important principle. Also, self-help people use this idea, and this is an important principle in work and in life in general, that when you have your sometimes people are unsure how to make decisions, they're not sure which way to go or what to do in life, then they have to understand that God gave them the ability to do the right thing. God gave them the ability to come close to him. He didn't create us and leave us forsaken, without, completely lost. We always have the ability to do the right thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have freedom of choice. We wouldn't be in this whole place. It's kind of touching upon some other topics, but
like intuition or gut feeling.
So that's not enough always. You can't decide law. You can't decide whether it's really right or wrong. If something is wrong, it's wrong. Gut feeling doesn't always tell you that.
But based on making a decision, though.
Making a decision, right? In certain areas, you don't know which business to go into. You have real estate, and you have car salesmanship, and you don't know which business to go in. So you have to understand that you have the tools to choose for yourself. The tools aren't always what it might look like, but God gives you the ability to choose the right thing. Some principles that are given in Kabbalah of how to make this decision in your own personal life and how to save yourself from a lot of problems. Most people I see, around Manhattan, some people I've spoken to, it seems like they're very caught up with not connecting to the light, not connecting to their own light that's being revealed inside of them, which is really the second phase of the last most important thing of what we're talking about. But they're actually revealing, they're trying to connect to something that someone else has. Someone else has a lot of money, and they want to be like them. Someone else is excited about something, and it's a little bit contagious, and I want to go. I want to be like that. If a person is not in touch with his own existence, with his own soul, then he's going to be flying around like the wind with all sorts of other things, and usually with not spiritual things. He's going to go with materialism. He's going to go with success on the outside. He's going to say, oh, you know what? He's going to make a decision. He's going to say, I'm going to be a real estate agent because those guys make a lot of money. It's like, who's to say? Who's to say that's how you're going to be happy? Who's to say that's what God wants you to do? You have to make a connection. You have to ask yourself one question. What does God want me to do? And how do you know the answer? So 2 answers here. I'll just very, very, very general. When doing positive things, So you have to know what you enjoy doing is a very good sign that that's what your soul is made of. That's what your soul is made for. What you're built for, God gave you a soul built for real estate. You could call the guys and you're always on the phone. You're always like, one thing after the next. And you see like, you really enjoy the work. And I'm not talking about making the money. I'm talking about the work. You are going to be, you're coming in touch with the soul that God gave you. Not with the excitement or the money that God gave someone else. You know? This is something that's a little bit, complicated. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't, connect to you can't connect to the light and bring the light into your own actions if you're not in the right business, so to speak. If you feel like you aren't in the business that makes you happy, you have to understand that God wants us to be happy. He wants us to be happy all the time, and He wants that. He created us with a mentality and with a body and our own souls that were formed in a way that can receive the light that's going to be appropriate for us. We said every matching of body and soul is something that matches. We said man does not have a wedding with animal. It doesn't go. God has a relationship with us. We, so to speak, attach ourselves to God. We have some type of association with Him. That means that He associates with us in a way that we are, in the form that we are. It doesn't mean if we do bad things that we should continue doing bad things, but the form that we are. I have a form that is conducive to teaching Kabbalah and helping people come close to spirituality, and this is what, in all sorts of different levels, this is what I connect to. This is a very important sign for me to know which way I'm supposed to go in my life. And this is something that you could do in specific things, what you enjoy doing, what you feel you're going to get most out of. Try to push aside the rest. There's a lot of chatter in the world. There's a lot of talking that goes out there, and it goes into our heads. All the advertisements, they destroy this thought. They destroy our connection. We have to be at peace. We clear our minds before meditation. Why? Because our brain is babbling on with all sorts of things that we saw on the streets and on TV shows and all these things. And it's very hard. It's very hard, I'm saying, to do this. As a breast liver, I'm not certain, I practice a certain sect of, I try to practice an hour a day of private meditation. An hour a day. Mostly it's talk. Mostly I speak to the Creator. I speak to the ultimate light, and I relate to Him. I build a relationship. That's what I do for an hour a day. This is an unbelievable technique. It's not meditation per se, but it is meditation, because really when you're trying to connect, you have to be aware. You have to be cognizant of the light that you're speaking to. So it's on the basis of meditation, so to speak. But it's a very powerful method of relating. Another thing is saying thanks, being appreciative of things that you have. It's kind of like expression, return expression. We're talking about kind of like all taking, bring the light in, bring it on, it's all good. But you want to give back. You also want to make a full circuit to express your gratitude, express your appreciation, even on bad things. This is a very powerful thing. If you take this methodology and you understand the way we understood, we were able to bring light into bad things, express your appreciation to bad things. This you could do at any time throughout the day. You could say, to Hashem, you say, I know this is good. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you gave it to me. Everything that He gives us is a present. Sometimes it's covered up in, in a sour pill, and sometimes it's not. But everything that comes to us is the light of this creation. We can connect to it. One of the ways of doing it is practice saying it. Say thanks. Say thanks even for the worst things. You say it, it helps. We're not really focusing on this. I would say it's less, I don't want to get too much into what might feel like religion. Sometimes I think that nowadays, maybe it's a mistake, but people are kind of like afraid of more classic religious practices. But this is one which I would say would enhance your meditative experience, and you're building your relationship with the ultimate light. So I would say it's very, very appropriate to do it. I do it for about an hour a day. Mostly not meditative things, although I do spend a lot of time on meditation. But I do a lot of speaking. Speaking is very easy because you could do the same thing in speech. It's sometimes not as immersive if you don't also have the meditative aspect. But in your speech, you're focused. By the fact that you're saying the words, it automatically zones you in and creates a reality for what it is that you're talking about. So you say thank you for bringing me this difficult situation, this difficult person, and you say thank you to the ultimate light, to Hashem. You're automatically, you didn't have the time to meditate. Sometimes you don't have the time to meditate. You're automatically focusing in on this aspect. It's the way the brain works. If you looked on the pictures, the lowest sphere is one of expression, is one of revelation, and you're revealing the light by speaking. So the speech itself is like an unbelievable, it's like a trick kind of, when, I'm not saying meditation is better or worse, it's like it's like a one-stop cure-all. It's like a Disney movie which all the adults and children enjoy. It's for all people at all situations, at all statuses. Meditation is just something you might not find. I had a certain issue on Saturday or Friday. I had a certain issue, and I tried doing some of these meditations, and one of them, at least, wasn't working. I wasn't able to get into it because my problem was blocking. The problem was too strong. It wasn't the meditations, any of these meditations that we practiced. It was a different one, but I have a whole list of all sorts of different exciting meditations. They're very good, and it's I'm pretty sure it's all about connecting. It's all about how we're drawing the light from infinite source in different ways. Breathing meditations, clapping and dancing meditations, prayer meditations. Meditate in a deep way. It's a different type of meditation. I was trying this meditation, it just didn't work. That particular one. Sometimes the meditation, you're blocked. Your mind is in a constricted state of consciousness. Kabbalah speaks about that a lot, coming to an expanded state of consciousness where meditation, these types of things will be very easy to get into and easy to affect your surroundings and your world and make the changes in your life that you want them to change. But when a person's in constricted mind, he can't. What does he do in such a situation? Speech. Saying thanks is a good way of speaking. Prayer in general, about these topics to get these things done is always successful, is always good. So basically, one of the things Kabbalah teaches, how does a person know his sole purpose, his purpose in this world? So there's two things: doing good things and not doing bad things. There's two sides of the world, right? Actions, doing good actions, and staying away from bad actions. That's like our whole job in this world. So within good actions, a person has to cut out all the garbage and try to see what he really connects to him personally. This is a tremendous job. I was just talking to my friend here about it, and then he, I think I was talking to him about this topic, and then he opened up this self-help guy. What was his name? V?
Oh, Gary
V, yeah. And he was like saying exactly the same thing in this particular topic. It was like,
cool, yeah,
it was nice. It was nice. But like, in the end of the day, he was like, why are people running around? They're doing all these jobs. They know what he wants. Like, Kabbalah said this, 400 years ago, that Arizal, 500 years ago, that Arizal wrote it, and he says, this is your soul. This is the perfection of your soul. It's like you're never gonna be happy when you're running around looking after the next guy. This is the positive things that you want to do. You have to connect to what it is that you feel you're built for and what you connect to. You're gonna make money if you like taking out garbage. You can make money taking out garbage. I was driving in, I think in New York actually. I saw this garbage truck drove by, and it's like the largest garbage disposal in the whole world. The guy's probably making $1 billion a year, and the guy's this guy. He liked throwing the garbage in the garbage cans, or he liked coordinating the. I don't know what he liked. He liked the business, whatever it was. Maybe he really started throwing out garbage, and he was a physical kind of guy. And he liked this kind of things. If you're physical, do physical work. Enjoy it. If that's what you like, don't worry about. Like, people make a lot of mistakes worrying about the big bucks, worrying about making it big, and these things. They end up running after emptiness. They're running after the darkness that's just concealing the light. We don't want to do that. Where is the light most revealed? In me, in my soul, in what I connect to. And this is not ego. I'm not talking about doing this in a method of ego, in understanding that that's how God created me. He created me with a certain desire and certain interests. And I'm not talking about temptations, and I'm not talking about lust or excitement that I picked up from the outside world. And that's what we have to cut out. And this is sometimes a lifetime job. It is very good to have a guidance counselor. I'm not talking about a psychological guidance counselor, a spiritual one who can help you build techniques, and the best techniques. I mean, I go to the forest for an hour. I go to a secluded place. I pray, meditate, connect, and things just like all the garbage kind of fizzles away. And then who is it? It's just me and God. And this is the way, the ultimate, like the pinnacle of all of this, like if you get to such a level, you'll be happy. I'm talking about real happiness. I'm not talking about happiness like I got something in life. I'm talking about you start coming in touch with the real existence, real reality. There's only one real reality, and it's the ultimate light. The rest is just a facade. It's just a hiddenness. And we live in there, and we have to deal with it, and that's our job. Our job is to deal with the darkness and to bring light into the darkness. But sometimes we want to feel like we want to go home, and we want to connect. We want to connect to the light. How do we do that? Seclude yourself. Meditate. Pray. Connect to the light. In your own words, what are you supposed to pray about? You have to know, what does he want? He wants you to do good. He wants you to do the things that are taught in the Bible, things that you're supposed to do. We're talking about each person according to their own person, and they're according to their own, the Torah teaches in detail, if you have a chance, if you're able to learn about it in detail, what is good and what is not good. There are a lot of intricacies, for example, in theft. There are a lot of intricacies in what not nice things you're allowed to say about somebody else. Is it damaging if I go around saying, is it? Do I owe a store owner if I've been walking around saying his pizza's really bad? Am I allowed to say that? What if it's true? What if it's not true? These things are intricate and they need study, and you're not going to be able to go to court to figure this out. You have to go to those who study the law. And this is why they're coming from a different Kabbalah, and the oral law of the Torah is coming from bringing the light of eternal light of the Creator into our everyday lives. And that's what the Jewish law is all about. And I'm not talking about Jewish law for Jews. I'm talking about Jewish law also for non-Jews. That there's I don't know if it's what the right words exactly would be called, but the law for non-Jews is different, and everyone's expected to do different things. And non-Jews have also, we have guidance, we have these things, and there's no need or no encouragement to become Jewish. It's not all it's not missionary type of things. But to be happy, in order to learn to connect to this light, you have to know what it is in detail that God wants. Again, getting rid of the garbage that we see in the movies and in the theaters and in the advertisements and our friends. Most of our surroundings are materialistic kind of influences that are drawing us away, drawing us into the darkness that's covering up the light. And what we want to do, we want to attach ourselves to the light, teach people about the light. There are other books about it. There are a lot of things to learn, and this is a meditation that a person, when you do it, when you start connecting, we're bringing it home. We're not driving it out to other people, to other things, to our physical ailments, to our bodies. We're driving it into our souls and saying, what is our purpose here in this world? What are we supposed to be doing? That's positive commandments. What I'm built for. What makes me happy. That's the best sign. I know personally, what makes me happy. I just want to sit with a big Kabbalah Sefer, and I want to learn. And even more than learning, I like teaching. I have more than teaching. I like it when somebody's excited, when someone's interested, and someone says, "Hey, this changed my life." Like this is like completing the circuit. I felt all this thing, but like completing the circuit. They say more than the calf wants to nurse, the cow wants to give. This is something that's a principle. This is something that I personally connect to. I grew up. I found what fits for me, and everyone has to find what fits for them. Kabbalah doesn't have to be their whole life, but everyone has to find what fits for them, and that is what the soul that God gave you. God gave you a soul that's built just for you, and He wants you to fulfill a certain purpose, and you're going to mess it up if you follow your friends that are in real estate, or your friends that are in garbage disposal, and you're not supposed to be that. You're supposed to be a sports instructor. You like sports, and you like these things. You're supposed to be a public speaker or a healer, or this is what you enjoy doing. You have to go with it, and you have to know you're not doing it just for the money. Your money, God will give you the money however it comes, and this is something that's also very important. There is such a thing as constellations. There is such a thing as destiny. There's such a thing as how much I'm allotted to make in my life. I had a palm. One of my friends was into. I didn't so much study these things, into palm reading, and into other things like that. It's more like the scientific side of Kabbalah, and I wouldn't suggest it for a lot of different reasons. But I thought about studying it to complete my knowledge of Kabbalah and other things like that. Yeah.
So we open this up to Q&A for all this.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Whenever you're finished with the
right.
second.
Second thing, right? The second,
Sure.
right. So let's jump. Basically, the first thing is connect to yourself, find what you really like. That's what's going to make you happy, and that knowledge is going to make you happy. You have to know that's what God wants. That's how He created you. The next one is negative things. You have to search carefully and see what's your weakest point in your negative. Where are you weakest on? Now, there was once. Let me give you an example. There was once a where you're weakest on, where you fail most in. Let's say a person has not that he's a kleptomaniac, but he's a little bit into, not so careful with other people's money, and in the business that he's in, it's a little easy for him, and he's always kind of like taking something a little bit, not paying his wages on time or not paying his people. He's finagling a little here and a little there to get a little bit. So he has to know that whatever's bothering him the most, let's say he finds women that are already married and he's not so careful with these types of things, he keeps on doing it, keeps on falling into these things. That's where you have to focus the most on the negative. The negative is the hardest and the positive is the easiest. Meaning, positive, do what you have to go into what you really feel, cut out all the garbage, that's the hard part, in finding your positive commandments, so to speak. What does God want you for? What does he want you to do in life? And the negative thing is most important. See what's hardest for you. Whatever the hardest one for you is, that's what you're here for. That's what you got to do, and that's what you got to focus on. This kind of summarizes like our purpose. We summarized connecting to the light. This is like a very, I would say, A to Z, happiness, wealth, in all sorts of different ways. Something that I think we touched upon the principles of prosperity in our lives in general. It is not, understanding the principles of financial prosperity. The other aspects to financial prosperity, there's, that we could speak about in different, different classes. And so let's do question and answer. Let's go.
Sure. So guys, from what you heard, part 1 and part 2, just to personalize the knowledge, right? Some of you heard this for the first time, and I just wanted you to take your what's going on in your life now and maybe apply it with a question to Rabbi Miles. Go ahead.
In general, my observation visually of the structure of the Kabbalah and the circles, I was imagining that it's a sphere of creation. The whole system is like a system of a sphere of creation. And then the white and the black being the darkness, what refines the white. Almost an interaction between darkness and light that is the refinement of the soul. I don't know if that's a way of seeing it, having in that system, having the knowledge of the Kabbalah inside, of harnessing that knowledge and optimizing almost the darkness as being an element of refinement of the soul with light and darkness.
Look, the darkness doesn't refine the soul as much as sometimes it could, it could define, it gives form. Because darkness gives limitation. So the darkness doesn't define the soul. The real part of the soul is the light that's inside. The darkness, what it does is it gives us a specific form sometimes to the thing. And really ultimately, at the end of the day, everything is, is guided by, the ultimate light had a certain purpose in creating 10, spheres and creating 10 forms. But this is not refined. You see that the darkness doesn't add, so to speak, in that sense. The darkness enables us to exist as separate, which has its good things and its bad things. Ultimately, it enables ultimate outside beings to be able to be created, to be able to be on the receiving side of God's ultimate light. God wants to give. He wants to give us good. So what did he do? He made a separation between him and what he was about to do, the creation. And that separation enables us to feel self, enables us to feel separate. So again, that's like the bottom of the end of we say ego really comes from here. So it's good and bad. If we didn't have any ego, so then we wouldn't exist at all. Like we would be, again, nullified. It wouldn't be that we wouldn't exist, like in a sense, we wouldn't exist in a way we could understand. We wouldn't exist as separate entities. We would exist as completely nullified within. Now, you have to understand, what's the ultimate perfection of the world? That everything comes back to the ultimate infinite light. There's a question, and I don't want to get into philosophy so much. There's a question that we cannot answer, that we cannot understand. If everything is supposed to be, once again, in the end, everything's going to be enveloped in ultimate light, everything, all of existence and all of creation, which is like the end of the end of the end. We're talking about like 10,000 years from now. No, sorry. We're talking about 4,000 years from now. There's in Kabbalah, it teaches all the different developments of the spiritual way, the physical world is uplifted. So in the end, everything's going to become one with the ultimate light. Now, if so, again, what did he do? He was like that in the beginning, right? Where is our independent existence? And the answer is, there's going to be some type of independent existence, but still we're going to be enveloped in the light. But there are things that we cannot understand. The ultimate light that created these things is his existence, and his consciousness and understanding is outside of our realm of understanding. And there are questions, some questions, that we can understand that we can't understand them. It's not like certain other religions that say, oh, you just have to believe and we can't tell you anything, you know? This is something that we can understand, but we can also understand that when talking about the ultimate light, we can't really relate to the terms. Our whole existence, our whole experience is experience of limitation. We limit things. We say, here I am, here that thing is. We associate with things in that way. All of our analytics, all of our brain calculates and understands things in a way of limit. Dealing with the unlimited light of the Creator is something, and his ultimate purpose in the world is something that we can't really completely fathom, and that's okay. That's logical. It's understandable. There are some things God could do things that we can't understand. He's God. He's the ultimate light. So there is such a thing that we can't understand. But I wouldn't say refining so much as allowing extra outside sources to exist. But if you want, it would be very interesting to look at, see, like, there's many diagrams, many different. I've been animating, and I wouldn't suggest that that you study these things, that I was teaching. It's much more advanced. It has to be explained in very, in ways that are going to be practical and down to earth for people. And it's not, it didn't yet get there. It's just basically a summary, a schematics, kind of like a blueprint of Kabbalah, So you could see, like, the pictures look cool, I thought about taking one of these pictures. That picture that you saw on the screen, I have a picture of that with all of the worlds, all the spiritual worlds, where their position is, including our world, like down there, you can't even see it really, but it looks, and it's colorful and everything. I put colors in, it makes it look very nice. But at the end of the day, that's just a metaphor. It's a complete metaphor. We don't connect to it we don't learn to, like, meditate on it. We don't meditate on it. We use, why is it a metaphor? Because when we do our meditations, and we want to imagine God, we imagine him in a sense of light. We imagine him light coming into our lives. So we imagine our world and our existence as dark space. That's kind of how we imagine it. Yeah.
Are there levels of attainment to reaching ultimate light, or can it happen all at once?
Usually there are levels of attainment. Sometimes people jump levels because they do crazy, ridiculous things. Sometimes it's right and sometimes it's wrong. I can tell you a story. One person in the Gemara, and then they called him a rabbi, but a person in the Gemara, he used to go after only illicit women. And he would go after one after the next, and that's all he was interested in. Once he heard, there's a story in the Talmud, once he heard about a illicit woman that was very far away, and he traveled like 7 seas, he had to cross, he had to go, like, he traveled, he gathered all of his money, and he went to be with her, and he was actually in the middle of I think he was in the middle of the act, or right before the act, and I know she set up everything with 7 beds, she had this whole, like, system, that's why she was so expensive and famous, or whatever it is. And he was a Jew, and he went to, he was either, I don't remember if he was in the middle, if he was about to start, and a voice came out of her throat saying, anyone can repent, anyone can come back, can change his ways except for you. So he stopped, and he went out, and he realized, like, oh my gosh, anyone can repent, anyone can come back except for me? He called out to the heavens, he called to the mountains, and the mountain says, what are you coming to me for? He called to the heavens. The heaven says, I'm sorry, like, I'm not the one that decides anything. There are a lot of powers in the world. The only one is the real one above, the one that, the creator. Only he could do it. So he called out to Hashem, and his complete feeling of, like, his soul left. And a voice came from heaven and said, this person, Eliezer, I think his name was, is invited to the world to come. He's invited to a good place in the world to come. Meaning, even though he did all these things, in one moment, he attained tremendous level. There's another story about a rabbi who the same thing happened to him. And there was a rabbi that was being put to death by the Roman Empire, and they wrapped him in a Torah scroll, one of the scrolls of the Torah, and they put cotton inside with water, in order that he should die slowly. He should feel a tremendous amount of pain. And the guard was doing all this, wrapping him up in the Torah scroll and putting him in the fire. And before he lit the fire, he asked the rabbi, he said, what would happen, would I get in the world to come if I pull out the cloth? I can't save you, but if I pull out the cloth with the water, so you won't die a painful death, it won't be so horrible. They made it like super torturous. And he said yes. He said, you will be. And I don't know about the whatever. They put the rabbi in the fire. The rabbi burnt, and the guard jumped into the fire with him. And then again, a voice came out saying that the rabbi was invited. That this non-Jew was also invited. A bad person. I mean, he was a Roman guard, but still, you're dealing with these types of things, and it can't be the best thing for your soul. Being a part of the executioner. There is such a thing that people can jump levels especially when they repent. They go in different ways. When a person changes his ways and says, now I'm going to do differently, they jump all sorts of levels that regular person who was born doing good things, he kind of goes in the null path. He has to take the one step at a time, and it's very hard. It's very difficult. Sometimes through extreme methods or extreme things you could jump levels, but a person who changes his ways and comes to good and starts acting in a good way, and a good way is defined by the Torah, then he skips levels. He jumps. He could start experiencing light in his life. He'll actually feel the light and experiencing it in a way that regular people can't. I mean, just to give you an example, what would happen if you practice in this way and you go in this way, good actions, good deeds, good thoughts, you start experiencing things that you would have imagined, levels of attainment that that you could reach. And I'm talking about simple things. You just feel light with you. You feel Hashem in your presence all the time. God's light with you all the time, and you feel different. You feel like your actions are different. Your everyday life is different. These things are attainable by anybody with a little bit of work. Anybody. I'd just say non-Jews. Easier, With Jews, you already you have a lot of things that you may not be doing. The very difficult things, waking up on time to pray and this and that, and there are many difficult things. So, as a non-Jew, you have a tremendous opportunity, to make it to levels of awareness, levels of awareness of the oneness of God, the oneness with creation. He's one with the creation. He's here. And we have to attach to him in the way. It's not oneness. It's not lawlessness. It's not anarchy. Oh, everything is okay. Like hippies, they kind of took it a little bit too extreme, and they said, "Oh, there is no law. There's no rules. Just do whatever you want." God doesn't want that either. It's also wrong. You're breaking the rules of existence. It's not, oh, whatever you feel like, that's what you should do. It's also wrong. These things are all wrong. There are Kabbalists that went up. There are prophets that spoke to God. God told him what he wanted, and he has a plan, and it makes sense. And if you learn it, you'll see that it does make sense, and it is something that should feel good. It's not things that are torturous and and bad. For Jews, Jewish things feel good. For for non-Jews things they feel good, and it'll be good. It's a good life. And even this world is a once certain holy rabbi said, Rabbi Nachman, he said this world, I don't know about this world. There's no such thing as this world. There's either Garden of Eden, like that had the future good world, and there's the bad world. There is no this world. People here are either living in darkness, complete darkness, or partial darkness, or they're living in light, or some measure of the two. There is no really this world. There is no really, oh, I'm here. Either you're in darkness, or you're in light. Some measure of combination of the two.
You had a question?
Yes. How do you connect dreams with the fact of meditation and your subconscious?
Can you repeat? How do you?
Do you connect dreams with your subconscious and meditation?
So I personally listen. I'm a dreamer. I'm a type of person that I started, practicing certain things, and I have an experience with visions and these types of things. And I'm not saying I'm a prophet in any way, and prophecy is not even in our generation, but even Holy Spirit, I would say, I can tell you a lot of stories. I have some written down here, interesting things. Most of the time, there's a reason for this, but most of the time, our dreams are meaningless, and certainly we don't always know how to interpret the dreams. I study Kabbalah a lot, and I have come to understanding of interpretations of dreams to a certain to a certain degree, but ultimately, interpreting dreams and relating to them is something that's very, is something that most of our thoughts and our experiences are mishmash of all the garbage that's going on in the world and all of our thoughts that we're not really going to get proper guidance from dreams. And once I went to my rabbi and I told him this story about I could tell you the whole dream. I saw the Elijah the prophet, and he showed me some things, and I saw Miriam the prophet, and she showed me some other things. I asked her some questions about what the future is going to be like, and she showed me things. I went to my rabbi and I told him the whole dream. He said, could be. It's like, very nice. It's like, you could get, and I'm talking about, like, I've never had, that was like the most clear dream. I've never had a dream like that. I've had very many interesting dreams with very many interesting people and holy rabbis I've seen, other things like that. And I'm not saying it to praise myself. I'm just, because I don't even know that most of what, there are three factors in dreams, maybe four. One is what you thought about during the day. You could be thinking about these things during the day and you'll dream about it because it affects the way you think about during the day. The next thing is what you eat. What you eat affects the things that you dream about, and also spiritual experiences. When I say what you think about during the day, also your subconscious. We don't really know. You're going to start analyzing your subconscious. I don't know all the intricacies of subconscious. So when you have a dream, you have three factors. It could be you ate pickles and pizza the night before, and you're having funny dreams. You know, it could be. No, I'm saying since there's so many factors. When Pharaoh went to get his dream interpreted, if you know the story, he had a strange dream, and he wanted to get interpretation, and he said, I did not think about, I dreamt about I saw a certain vision, and I never thought I saw such a thing in my whole life. Why did he say that? He said that because if you think about something during the day, it's going to affect you also at night, subconsciously, whatever it is. And really, in perfecting your dreams, you have to perfect your subconscious. If you want to have pure dreams that will guide you in good ways, you have to perfect your subconscious. There are other ways of doing it, but mostly I would say it's a wasteful type of pursuit. Most of the time, it could be fun, but as far as getting guidance, listen, some people are different and some people really, have some type of things, but most of the time, even if you have very interesting dreams and very meaningful dreams, like something's happening, most of the time you'll find at best it'll tell you something in the future, and for what? Like you don't need it. It's not really going to bring you closer to, I've had some friends. They tell me they have spiritual perceptions, and they know a friend of a friend, or a rabbi of a rabbi, whatever, a rabbi of a friend of a rabbi. He said one of these guys was practicing certain meditations. He got to this. He was practicing a dangerous meditation, which you should not be nobody should be practicing, that I know of, and certainly nobody. I don't want to minimize anybody, but nobody here at this table, nobody coming to a beginner's class in Kabbalah, where they practice. You may be familiar with it. It's certain type of head movements and certain sounds that you make when you move the head. And Rabbi Lafia's teaching meditations, do not practice it. If you practice it and you're any good at it, you are likely to be mentally damaged, deranged permanently, because what you're doing is you're hooking yourself up in some spiritual way, and you're locking into some spiritual things which you may not be ready for, and you haven't perfected your subconscious and other things like that. You can imagine what would happen if you open yourself up to see your subconscious thoughts in your mind, and they would scare you and fight with you. What, are you going to start fighting with them? So I heard a story about one of the guys who was practicing these things, and I heard it first hand or second hand, I guess. But I've had a lot of stories in these areas, and he practiced these meditations, and now, like forever, he's like hooked up in a kind of slightly supernatural way, and he sees these supernatural things, but he's not connecting to the ultimate light. He's not happy. He's all messed up. He's always anxious because he's overloaded himself with spiritual knowledge of different sorts, which he'll sometimes know the future, short things, because short things are given also to the evil side to be able to reveal, and long-term things are not usually. But he sees, like, he'll know something that's about to happen, or somebody that's at the door, or something very small and very insignificant. But he always has to like be relaxing and taking vacations because the amount of light for the good or for bad, which I would say for bad for sure. Like, there's not a way to live life. The Torah does not teach this. And as a teacher of Kabbalah, I guide people away from these things. The meditation that I'm teaching you to do are safe. If you start feeling a little bit cuckoo or a little bit like you're losing your mental sanity, so stop doing it for a certain period of time. You could start again, do it slower, do it more relaxed. It's not something that you could take spiritual guidance to guide yourself in the right way. But dreams are, in doing meditations, you might start getting visions. But the visions you're going to get, just push them away. Keep on doing your meditations. They're not going to be something that you're going to want to look into. Sometimes, if you come to a very, very deep level of meditation, and I'm not going to be guiding you in this class on these types of things, you can come to complete touch with your deep self, and I mean your neshama, your soul, and your consciousness, in a way that it is possible to get certain revelations from yourself, meaning you're in touch with, inside your body, you have such powers, such a soul, that if you could, like I said before, I think after the class, if you could use the powers, you could fly in the air. If you could get in touch with the knowledge of your own soul, you could know, like, many of the things that that Kabbalah teaches, but not Kabbalah the way that I'm teaching it, but the spiritual knowledge of the Eastern meditations and other things like that. It's inside the soul. The higher your soul is, your soul also has connection to the ultimate light. But the only way to get to it is through the true teachings of Kabbalah. That's the only way.
So using the meditations, is that how you can produce more prosperity? Or
Yes, that's what I mean. Look, we went through meditations. Meditate on the problem. Meditate on, you actually are going to change your reality. You're going to change the prosperity in your own life in psychological levels. We can understand. Focusing, everyone knows. I'm not going to describe. I don't need to teach psychology. I don't know psychology.
Good vibes.
But yeah, that's very nice. That's very nice. But more than that, you're actually revealing it in the world. And you actually bring it out. We said there's a passage. Whenever you combine spirituality, you bring God's light into anything physical, you double its sustenance. You double its physical sustenance. And the words are finances. The words are money. You're automatically doing this. This is the secret to physical prosperity also. You have to understand, again, you have to try to align yourself as much as you can with the light, to be in the right business, to be in the right place, to do it constantly. It's something that's a practice in life. Say thank you when you get it. You're going to make the breaks. You're going to make it. You're going to make it sometimes, You're going to get the success on the financial level also. This is not a guarantee that everyone's going to be owning one of these buildings in Manhattan. And that's just because not everybody has such a destiny. However, let me give you an example of what it would do when there's something defined inside, let's say, I don't want to say astrologically, but God decided this year you're getting a certain amount of money. That's what was already kind of predestined. Now, all that money could go to fixing your fridge and your broken car. And you're poor, and you're begging your friends for, for a little bit of help, for the month or whatever it is. That's not good, right? The same amount of money you could get, and you could be prosperous with it. You could not have damages. You could have things go well. I'll give you a story. The famous story, El Al is a Jewish company, and there's a particular guarantee about keeping the Sabbath, keeping the Shabbat, keeping Shabbos, which is the Saturday, and not flying on Saturday, not doing anything. And there's an example, I'm just saying, where on a Jewish example, and everyone could take it to their own, and then and this happens with every Jew in all situations. Let's keep it to, it's not, basically by doing something, by attaching yourself and bring Hashem, God's light, into your everyday existence, He's going to be with you there more, and you won't end up, your car won't break. So there is a certain idea of having a certain amount that you already was predestined, so to speak, and that you can't really change. You can't really change to get more. Like a certain amount, but how it's going to come about, how you're going to live with it, how you're going to experience it. You're going to buy a can of soda and be driving off to the airport, and you open it up and it was like, you realize it was open already and it was flat, and you don't want to drink it. Maybe someone poured poison and you throw it away. Okay, you paid for it. It was money God gave you. The destiny that you already had set up for you came out in a bad way. Destiny and astrology is like seeing like a drop in the ocean, a drop of the ways that it could be. Oh, so I see you're supposed to get a lot of money, but maybe you're going to get a lot of money and be miserable with it. Maybe you're going to get a lot of money and have to spend it all on broken things. No, I can't see that. There are many things certain aspects they can't see. Astrology, and meaning knowing what is predestined for us, is very limited. Money from year to year could be limited. You know, these types of things could be predefined from year to year. We can't change. There are certain things we can't change, but we could change how it comes into our lives, how it affects us, and what we do with it. Is it going to be invested in the right investment for next year, or is it in the wrong investment? Is it going to be, so I got the same amount of money, but I did something good with it. You know, am I going to invest in bitcoins and then sell, or not? You know?
You can talk about that.
Yeah, good idea.
Well, I deal also in bitcoins, just by the way, a little bit. I say we had. It's a whole story, but I say we're like money changers, kind of like if you need
Question,
cash out.
when you say it's not appropriate to like pray for things that already happened, right?
Yes.
And then like, so in regards to like health, like so when there's things that you don't know if it happened and you're in between, how do you kind of?
Let's say my stomach hurts me, and I don't know what it is. Could be chas v'shalom, could be an ulcer, could be the disease, the famous disease that people are dying by all the time, the growths. It could be nothing. Could be I ate something funny last night, you know. So yeah, you could pray for that.
So you can now define it to
Yeah.
what you want it to be.
And for that reason, yes, you could try. Yeah, you could try. There are better techniques, but you could try. That is good. Yeah, you pray for that. You could get healing very easily as long as it's not. You know, once it grows, once they see it, it's much worse. You know, it could be that it was defined already before, and the type of disease might have been defined last week, and for whatever reason, that was already defined. But how bad it is, there are many things that they're flexible. Some things are not flexible. I mean, it could be there was a decree upon you to have a certain, certain not such bad disease. Let's say I don't want to use that example, right? Now you have the ability to minimize that, and make that a lot better by bringing God's light into your stomach problem. Let's say. Now you don't have the ability, maybe, depending on the decree. There are decrees. This is the way it goes. There's a whole a science to it. You know, when a person does something, he creates certain reality. It comes into him. Not all the time necessarily. It is fine to try to wish it the best completely. As long as it wasn't seen, it is in a lot better situation. For that reason, me personally, my wife hasn't, last pregnancy, our 8th kid, Baruch Hashem, thank God, we didn't go to the doctor at all the whole time. Even for, well, sometimes we do what is it called? Not the cat, what's it called? The ultrasound, where they check the baby and they check all the things. And we spoke to the rabbis, and without getting into all the details of how this works, but we don't want to define. We don't want the doctor to be sitting there with his machines defining the baby, before he's born. So we're able to pray not that he should be a boy, because these things are actually predefined. There are certain things that actually happened because it was already decided in heaven what soul should go into the baby before he's born, from the day of conception. And there are some things that are kind of you have to know the rules, the spiritual rules of what's predefined and what isn't. So not everything, but as long as it wasn't measured, more and less is like for sure not predefined. With the example I would give about the car breaking down and all things like that are not necessarily predefined. There are a lot of things that are not predefined, and we have flexibility within certain types of decrees that might have already taken. But we could change the decrees through prayer and through other things. There are ways of changing also through certain meditations. We could change decrees, but usually it takes a little more from you. Like you got to go deeper inside than just a little focusing on light. You got to give up a little bit sometimes. Do something hard, you know.
Another one. So you were saying light is hiding in the dark. There's no dark is not absent from light. We're talking about that.
Dark is not absence of light, right?
Would you say that if dark things are like come in your path, those are meant for you to kind of see the light through it?
Yeah, that was. I wanted to give a light, for example. Can you give an example?
Can I give an example? Yeah. Oh, just like let me see. If you keep hitting a block like you trying to do stocks and stuff like that,
right.
You want to go this direction, but you're like, hey, this is where I'm happy, this is where I feel like my light is, but
right.
I keep hitting this wall, and I'm like not getting past this wall. Should I stop? Because maybe, hey, this wall is telling me, hey, go this direction, or should I now see the wall as light, but I need to see the light in this darkness, which I was kind of just making negative.
The second one more than the first one, meaning I have to see the light inside the darkness, because I have to use only the principles of the Torah to decide what I should do. Don't use. Sometimes you have to go with the flow, so to speak. Like if you keep on, listen, like I've been in the stocks, let's say, for 10 years, I've never made any money. Maybe get another job. I mean, you have to be in touch with yourself and with reality. I'm not saying like to just be ridiculous about it, because we have to understand God gives us signs in all sorts of different ways. But taking signs, I gave a lecture about this like a few days ago. It was like half hour, 45 minutes. How to take a sign. The most important thing is you got to know the teachings. You got to know the Torah. You got to know, some Kabbalah. You got to know, what it means to be good. You have to know how to take a sign. It's not so simple. Don't take signs to decide what's right and what's wrong. That shouldn't be. If you feel stocks are good, but I keep on bumping into walls. But you know what? I've been doing it for 10 years. Things have been good. I could handle it. Another couple of bumps, and I know there's rules about how much you could risk or whatever it is. So that's life. Keep on going. Keep on going. You enjoy it. Let's say I take money for investments from other people, and I'm trading in stocks, and the stock market crash. I lost 30%, 80% of everyone's money. I just feel bad. I love doing stocks, but I just feel bad dealing with my customers. Deal with it. Work with it. Don't drop your job just because customers are still going to give you money. Even when the stock market goes down, people still invest, and you keep on going. And it's hard. That's a hardship that would be, I would say, an example. Find the light in the hardship. Either it's a personal development, practical development thing, and also it's not so bad. You have to find that whenever bad things happen to us, they're really not so bad. And there's always something good inside that bad. Something good. That's what we have to find. We have to bring God's light into there. Bring God's light even into the badness is also a wonderful, wonderful thing. And that's an amazing, amazing thing. And it helps you connect. You have to understand the bad things that are happening to you are good for you. God does everything for the best, and He's in everything. We don't always understand it, but it's all for our benefit, and we have to be thankful. Yeah, okay? Oh, yeah.
The last meditation we did, if you are focusing on bringing out the good in somebody that has troubles,
Right.
Would that be basically from the meditation, would that be completed, or does it require further meditation, interaction, or intention?
That meditation is a meditation. Everything that we taught here is a unit that could be taught, that could be used in and of itself without doing anything else. Meaning, I didn't have to know the guy. If I'm working on, if I have a job, let's say I have an office, let's say I have real estate, whatever, I have 10 people working for me, I could sit down every day if I want to do this meditation. Again, I don't know if you have to know what the best use of your time is and meditating on these types of things, but some guys are giving you difficulty at work. You could sit down and focus. You don't have to ever talk to them. You don't have to ever talk to them about it. You could focus on their problems and focus on bringing God's light into their problems, and that will help them. You could focus on the good things that they have and bring God's light into the good things that they have, and that will help them. That will help you as an owner of the company, but that's something that's independent of talking to them. Is no further steps. This is like a magical procedure. Your imagination has the power to change your reality for the best. Make sure, please, I'm asking everybody to make sure you use it only for the good, and only bring the light of the Creator, which is the real light. All the other things are nothing. This is the real way to use it. This is the real way to connect it. We connect it by thinking about it. That's what we do. And that's meaning each meditation is independent. I could use meditation to connecting to the light, the infinite light, to create a relationship, or to feel the ultimate nullification with inside that light. I could bring the light into my problems to feel God's goodness inside everything that I do, and that actually changes the thing itself without doing anything else. There's no further things necessary. There are other things that will be beneficial, but not further necessary to complete this meditation, to complete this action that we spoke about. Was that clear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, going back to the question regarding the help with the measuring, right? Just turning it back to the financial stuff. So, if you know your account has a certain amount, and you measured it yesterday, probably today it's going to be that amount, or maybe a little bit more. But since tomorrow you don't know what other opportunities there are in terms of business or whatever you're doing for an investment, right? That has infinite possibility because the potentiality isn't measured.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, that's true, yeah.
So basically what you're saying is, via the meditation, via focusing on the light, you can then turn that possibility that is unmeasured into something that is completely abundant, yes?
Yeah, but just the possibility, meaning before something happens, it is like you have two questions, whether it's going to come into existence, but when it does come into existence, you could have it be a bigger thing. Meaning it didn't even come into existence yet. You're sitting down, you have a list of phone calls to make, you don't even know where the building is. You don't even know which building it's going to be. So yeah, you could you could through this meditation you could get a big building. Again, I wouldn't. Yeah, most important thing is you have to know you're bringing the Creator into your life. Don't make the mistake of using Him for your purposes, in the sense of it's not bad to do this, but you have to understand He's your partner. You feel afterwards you're going to make the deal. You make a thanks. You make a party with your friends, and you say, "I'm giving thanks to God, the Creator who helped me." It's not a joke. It's like you have a partnership here. You brought him in. Now you brought him. You used his light. And I think you're going to run away and party with your friends and not say anything. I'm saying this is something that's like it's a little bit. I'm not saying you're making a connection. Don't make the connection and then throw them away. You know, you have to understand this is a real thing.
So instead of so let me try to understand what you're saying. So instead of using the divine to get the thing that you want, and then do the good from the thing that you want, you want to do the opposite way. You want to do the good first, and as a result of that, the prosperity will follow. Is that more of what you're saying?
I'm saying maybe it was a little bit not so clear. I'm saying that you have to realize when you sit down, you have to realize your job is good. Okay, whatever it is, you're a family man. You want to get married. You want to. I mean, having kids and being productive in the world, even if you're not having kids, is you're perfecting the world. You know, this guy wants to buy, this guy wants to sell. There was a problem. You fixed it. Now they don't have a problem anymore. Now this guy bought, this guy sold, whatever. Everything worked out. You're trying to do God's will in this, so you really are a partner with Him, right? But the real question is, when you're bringing your light into there to get more money, are you doing it because you're a partner with Him and you want to have more money to do more, good things, or are you a partner with Him only until you have His money, and then you take His money and you run off with it to materialism? So the more you're able to do this, again, it's good. Whatever you do, in general, these things are good. And if you make a calculation, there's like a whole system of how to do this to live your whole life. We're talking about like a complete system of living within this Kabbalistic, framework. We want to be partners with Him in everything that we do. Understand He's here with us in everything. He was the one who brought us to this success. He was the one who brought us to this place because we brought His light into it. And if we didn't do that, He would still give us a certain amount of success. All of us, I hope, are successful, anyways. Before you came to this Kabbalah class, hopefully you'll all be more successful when you go out. But you have to know where the success is coming from. You have to know always the success is coming from the ultimate light, which you brought in. He wanted you. He wanted you to bring Him in. Just by the way, somebody said, even in the non-Jewish words and letters, there are secrets. And somebody pointed out it's a famous Jewish thing, coincidence. What is coincidence? Somebody says ko is the name of Hashem. We don't say it with like that exactly. We say it a little differently, but it's coincide. I think that's to coincide. That's what you're saying is, it's not really coincidence. It's not random. It's not darkness anymore. It's light. The more you bring this light into your life, the more you're going to be prosperous in every way. But you have to make sure, finalize the cycle. Make sure the money goes to good places. Don't just squander it on materialism again. Again, it's not forbidden. God won't be angry with you if you do. To have a certain materialism for a non-Jew is not forbidden. It's not, a Jew has much higher standards he has to live on. He's not allowed. It's very strict. I would say even if you want to be happy also as a non-Jew, do it. It's going to make you happy. I mean, don't be materialistic. You're going to be happier that way. But if you do, you don't have to feel like you're out of the loop and God's not going to be with you. God will be with you too. You could bring Him in. But you have to make sure that in general you're doing good things, and certainly your business is going to be a good kosher business, so to speak.
So basically it's setting your intentions towards what you get in your meditation that God would want you to use that money for if that transaction happens. Exactly. It's not just furiously doing it to gain more for yourself. Exactly.
That's going to be, what you're doing is you're finalizing the circuit. I got something good. What am I getting it for? I'm recycling. I'm bringing it back into the good system. And I'm recycling. Your life just becomes, and this is, they have nowadays fusion? Fusion. No, energy. Where they're trying to make like endless energy. That's not. I mean, there's no way. They have in what sign? What?
Like Tesla,
yeah, they have this idea of And that's something else. That's actually, oh yeah, self-sustaining energy that it could, through the energy that it creates.
Free energy.
Yeah, free energy, kind of like you can imagine. If you could take the water, and water has carbon, has oxygen and carbon and hydrogen inside. If you could take it and break apart the molecules with less energy than it would take to create the energy that you get out of it, you actually would have endless amount of energy. So here we're talking about making a cycle. If you make the cycle, you'll be able to fill completely endless amounts of energy in your life. Everything will be feeding into it. Difficult things will be just uplifting you in amazing ways. I want to give a whole lecture. The second part of the lecture, I was just afraid I would finish the first one too quickly, but I saw that we did well, and it took a little longer. But the next part was using the negative things that God sends you, using that to be an ultimate springboard. That was like a whole lecture, and that's a very, very deep topic. Basically, it's kind of tapping into the light of the darkness itself. Not the light hidden by the darkness, but the light of the darkness. That's something that's very, very deep concept, but unimaginably effective in your light. What is the light of the darkness itself? God created it, must have light, right? And it's not just that it's hiding the light, it has light of its own. The light of the darkness is something that it's basically on a footnote. I don't know how much this is seeping in. I hope some of it is, but on a footnote, when something is bad for you, you should know the badness itself is your ultimate success. Look at your life and you'll see that the bad things brought you to the highest levels, to the highest successes, and God is giving that to you as the ultimate treasure. Ultimate treasure. We have to treasure our difficulties. We have to feel, and when we tap into God's light, we know the Creator is bringing us these bad things for unimaginably good things, and I could explain to you. Go on to self-help and see all day. They speak to you about using these things, and I don't even know what they say. Really, I'm not expert in their sciences and their things. All I know is when I learn these things and I teach Kabbalah the way I'm teaching it, and I'm basically bringing it down to people that we can understand in a way that we can apply. That is Kabbalah that's kosher and not dangerous for anyone. I would never suggest again. Many other Kabbalah teachers are teaching to do things that are not kosher, and they're damaging to your own soul and to your own saying names of Hashem or other things like that. But teaching Kabbalah in this way, understanding it, being able to tap into the ultimate light, and these are called simple meditations. We're not forcing anything to happen. There are other meditations where you force things to happen. Practical, it's horribly dangerous and forbidden for any of us to practice.
No, I just should say something. What do you call it? I feel like a lot of things with spirituality is like, yeah, you could like read a book and like listen to your teacher or your rabbi and everything, but it's a lot of like walking it out, like how when you meditate and all that, like you start attracting certain things to you. Like you start learning yourself, like, oh, this one is true. Like I learned that. I don't know about that, but this one is true and that one's true, and it's like a spirit, like guiding you and teaching you in a certain type of way. So you like automatically like you was thankful, and it was like, oh, and it's like it's so personal. It's so personal that he knows exactly like, oh, he likes birds with that, and I just want to show him that just to tell him he did a good job today, or you know what I mean. And then it's like when you start giving, it's like not like, all right, there's less what do you call it? There's less of like a jail type thing. Like, oh, I have to. It's like when you give someone something. Like one time I gave like an old lady like $20 because I saw her on the train and it looked like she's like someone's grandmother. Like, what's someone's grandmother doing out there? And she was like so happy. She was like so, and then like it really, I felt it like right away. Like, it felt good to give.
Right.
And that's why I feel like anything with spirituality is like sincerity. So if you just are taught like prayers and do this and do that, I mean,
box.
I got, but anyways, it's like you have to, it's always sincerity, because first you learn how to be sincere with God. Because sometimes in the beginning you really trying so hard because like he showed you how much he loved you, so it's like, what you want me to do? You want me to do that? All right, even though that's the hardest thing for you, and then it's like, man, does he love me like that, man? Ain't nobody loved me like that before, you know, so I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna go hard for him, you know. And then it's like, what do you call it? It's just like sincerity that you learn with him. You start like showing more sincerity with people, and like a lot of the things that people learn like through books and stuff. It's just you learned it through like walking it out, like
Right. This is something that needs to be. It is very important to learn it, you know, from somebody who, you know, it's very important. There's a lot of books out there, and you know, you could see the, you know, the truth. You could see the real way. It's important to get the right guidance.
Yeah. Because like you said, you know, I'm not Jewish, but I understand certain concepts because of a spiritual path. Like you go here, like you're so 100% ready, like 100% ready to learn, and you know, like God loves you so much, and you start putting that towards a person too much, and then like they're damaging you to a real dark level, you know, or to try to at least, you know, and it's like still like your connection with you and your creator, like, you know, like I don't, you know, what's going on here? Like sometimes you're meant to, I mean, I feel you're meant to go through certain things, you know, sometimes, but sometimes you know, and then like you learn certain things from it, you know, and I feel like people have like similar things going on, but it's in different places, you know, and yeah, so I just wanted to express myself. So if anything needs to be questioned or answered, or if, you know, if something that's said is wrong, or you know, I just felt like saying what's on my mind.
Very nice. Well,
Does anyone else have any questions for the rabbi, or is it? Yeah?
I think it's funny. It's like everything is clear. It's like I have 100 questions. If somebody has answers, it's like.
So it's 5 o'clock. We wanted to wrap up now, but feel free to stay for a few minutes and interact with each other as well. I think not only will you learn from the rabbi, but I think you can learn a lot from each other as well. I think we'll come from different aspects of spirituality. So feel free to talk to the rabbi if you can stick around a few minutes.
Yeah.
And also each other. The pantry is all the way down there. There's water and tea, and the bathrooms are here. So please, thank you so much, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, bro. Sorry about that.
Listen, you know what? You can have a conversation.
How you doing?
I almost slept last night. Hang on one second.